Hello and welcome. It's Kelly Jane McCann from OrganizingMaven.com, where the focus is on clearing out the clutter and finding happiness. So as I sit here today, we are smack dab in the middle of the holiday season. And in theory, this is supposed to be a time to kick back, relax, and enjoy our friends and family. But what comes along with the holidays? The expectations. They can be pretty intense. And it's not uncommon to find ourselves saying yes one minute and seriously regretting it the next. And for women, this is true year-round. Why? Because we're hardwired to please. It's practically built into our DNA that we should be helpful. I know that this is particularly true for me, but I also know that saying yes too often can send me to the land of resentment, and that is not a pretty place to visit. So what can we do? We can learn to say no effectively. And why do I say learn to say no? Because saying no is actually a skill, and we actually have to hone that skill. So here are my 4 tips for you. First of all, remember, your time is just as valuable as anyone else's. I know that that's easy to forget, but it's true. So if saying yes to someone else means that you have to give up something of your own, you owe it to yourself to say no. As a matter of fact, you owe it to the other person to say no. And remember, no one that really truly cares about you would expect you to give up just so they can gain. And then you need to evaluate the situation. Are you really truly the only person that can take on the task? And by that, I mean really truly the only person, not just that you're good at it. Or is it possibly a blood pooling emergency where you are required to go save someone's life? Those situations are really rare. If they show up, you're going to be compelled to say yes, and rightfully so. But if it's not one of those 2 situations, then you need to take a minute or 5, step back and think about what will it mean for you. Unless you are feeling super enthusiastic about saying yes, and you'll know that because your gut will be like, hell yeah, bring that on, I can't wait to do that, then saying no is best for all involved. And remember, it's much easier to go back and say yes than it is to go back and say, I'm sorry, I need to take back that yes. So, evaluate the situation. And then learn how to buffer your no. No is a complete sentence. It really doesn't need to be embellished, but it's much nicer to take the edge off of it before you deliver it. And how do I mean? I mean, thank you for thinking of me, but my schedule is just too full. Or, that sounds fantastic and I really appreciate you inquiring, but I can't take that on right now. So buffering your no is just softening it. Now, remember, buffering your no does not mean you are legitimizing it. And don't go too far with being apologetic, because otherwise you might get caught into a loophole and find yourself saying yes. Remember, no is a complete sentence. Buffering it is nice, but not necessary. And then the possibility exists that you could offer an alternative. Let's say someone asks you to do something and you really would like to be helpful, but what they're asking you doesn't sound appealing. For example, let's say your niece asks you to get her in with the HR department at your company. And let's say making nice with those HR people, well, you'd rather slit your wrist than do that. You can offer an alternative. Perhaps you could offer to help her create a kick-ass resume. So do you see what I'm saying? You are offering up an alternative so that you can say yes to something that genuinely excites you. So learning how to say no, it's a skill, but it's a skill that if you hone, what are you going to get? You are going to get more free time. You are going to feel good about yourself, and you are definitely not going to land up in that ugly land of resentment. So those are my 4 tips for you. I'd love to hear your feedback, so please feel free to leave a